I just love the drama.
Biggest U-turn since winter fuel allowance.
Cut that.
Because loose lips sink ships.
And what the fans want is to stop teams being owned by madmen.
Listen, you're really making a mess here. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. We're getting really cross with you.
The sticky patch came when the rest of the team's sticky patch came, which was sort of January onwards.
Grumble, boobs joke, hot ones.
No, let me tell you, I don't have to look at this objectively at all.
The Wednesday week!
Put on your podcast!
Hello and welcome to the Wednesday week. This is Ash Rogers in another episode of... Yeah, that's right. It's our preview show, and today I'm welcomed by Chris Holt from the Rams Review podcast. Morning, Chris. How are we doing?
Good morning, Ash. I'm always well on a Saturday morning, ready to go, and a weekend of... Although we haven't got a weekend of football this week, we've got to wait till belated Monday, haven't we? But yeah, I'm very well, mate.
Yeah, good. Yes, we are recording this on the early hours of Saturday morning, getting it out of the way, so we've got our weekend. Like Chris says, there's no football with respect to our sides. We have to wait till Monday night. But yeah, we're going to get into it. So Derby County are coming to Hillsborough Monday night. In a fixture that I'm sure Derby County fans, Chris, you may agree that looking forward to this. It's a given 3 points when people are visiting Hillsborough lately.
We're Derby County, Ash. We are it's the Christmas season. It's all about giving, and if anyone who follows Derby will back this up, that we seem to be the team that always give the struggling teams their 3 points that they need to kickstart their season. So if we continue to gift away like that, then you may well have a very nice Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so it's better to better to give than receive. Then I'm sorry, but I will gladly take 3 points on Monday night. But yeah, so yeah, as we say, Derby County coming to Hillsborough. We'll start off just at the beginning of the season, Chris, if you don't mind. Obviously, John Eustace came in at the early part of this year, so later part of last season. And over the summer, what was your expectations and a whole of Derby County fans' expectations for this season?
Well, it probably spills over from the end of the 24-25 season when we had that ridiculously good run where he came in, didn't he, in sort of February, March time, and he lost his first three, and then we somehow managed to win, I think if I remember rightly, 6 out of 9 games, which was a crazy run that we went on, and we ended up surviving. So there was lots of excitement and intrepidation that we've got the right man. And 13 players went out, 13 players came in. And one thing about John Eustace, which you'll see with his post-match interviews after the game, he's very straight bat. You know, if England need an Ashes opener for the third test, I'd whack John Eustace out there because he'll be there all 5 days. Because he's the most straight-battered manager when it comes to press conferences you'll ever receive. Honestly, you get nothing from him other than positive. And he uses the word fantastic about 33 times a recording. So he brought in some quality. I think the gamble that he went for was quality with history, i.e. current injuries, previous histories of injuries. And yeah, the start of the season didn't bear much fruit because of the fact that these injuries and these players that weren't available, they then came back in a mass as such, and we went on that crazy 5 winning streak, which took us to the dizzy heights of 7th. I think at one stage when we were beating we're beating Watford, we were in the dizzy heights of 3rd, which was ridiculous. So, but now I think we're languishing in 16th, sort of in the mire. And probably where we need to be really realistically with the way the season's gone.
Yeah, you mentioned that you're 16th in the championship, only 36 points ahead of us. So you know it's a bit of a gap, but you know we could eke into that on Monday night with a win. Yeah, like you say, you said over the summer you obviously got rid of quite a lot of players and brought in some. I just had a quick look on transfer market yesterday, and I know it's not the Bible, but it's quite a good overview of what you've got. And I see you brought in quite a few forwards. You got Carl Morris, who's got his leading scorer with 10 goals. Agumang, £6 million as well. A certain Ryan Brewster coming on free from them over the other side of our city. Is that something that John Eustace is obviously looking at, an attacking threat? Because like I said, you brought in 4 probably first team starters in the summer. Is that how John Eustace likes to play? Is he a front foot manager?
Yeah, he's counter-attacking. He's quite happily will give the ball to the opposite end of the field and wait for the play to break down, and then he'll go gun ho. We've seen it in spurts, but I think recently those injuries that came back, guess what? They went back injured again. So you mentioned Ryan Brewster for a classic example. He made his debut against Ipswich early doors in the season, ripped them apart, absolute quality, scored an incredible goal. And then lo and behold, Ryan Brewster does what Ryan Brewster is known for, break down. And he's just come back. Yeah. Came back against Watford, Middlesbrough briefly, and then came back again against Millwall midweek, and looked good, looked sharp. But we're all just waiting for his return to the full team, the full 90-minute action with the first team, and lo and behold, he'll probably break down. And then you got the likes of Adjumang, who was £6 million from Charlotte FC in America. For you old heads out there, you may remember a guy called Paolo Wanchop.
Oh yes,
who was
yeah.
Well, this is the Paolo Wanchop version 2.0. This kid has come through the college system, earned his stripes. To be fair, has the word raw written all over him. We always use that word for describing someone who we haven't got a bloody clue what's going to happen. Let's be honest, we all do, don't we? Actually?
Yeah, we do.
The word raw is used when someone can't describe what his assets are. Makes me laugh. And again, he's raw. He's 6'4". He's 15 stone. He's quick as lightning. He's awkward, but no one quite knows what's going to come about with this lad. He's aiming to get in the World Cup in 2026. He's one of the strikers for the USA team. He's not prolific in his history, but he's awkward. And then, you've got Carl Morris, who was the league's top scorer until, unfortunately, some Watford player decided to off the ball, shin him, and take his ankle out for 3 months. So you won't be seeing him, but he was on fire. And it's no coincidence that when Derby won 5 on the bounce and went to the dizzy heights, Carl Morris was the league player of the month or the week, wherever. He was just flying, and everything that came near him stuck or went in the back of the net, and it's a massive loss.
Yeah, it's good to hear that. Obviously, I'm not up on your injuries situation, but it's good to see Carl Morris not being part of the team on Monday, because he remember played for Luton. Was it Luton?
He did.
Luton.
He's had it.
Yeah, scored against us.
He's played in. I think he's played in all 4 divisions. I think he may well have played in all 5 divisions, including the conference or the National League, as it's called now. But I'm pretty sure that he's. This is the guy who's 29, earned his stripes, and I think he's the most underrated striker in the Championship. He's very, very good.
Yeah, so it's a good job that we're not going to see him. Obviously, Sheffield Wednesday fans obviously are going through a bit of a tough time off the pitch, on the pitch as well. But we know where we are on the pitch. Off the pitch, we're in administration, a situation that Derby County fans know all too well. Obviously, you've got a local businessman now, David Clowns. Is that how you pronounce it? Clowns. That's in now. Clowns. Just go back. I know it was about 2022 when he finally purchased the club. Just take us back a little bit, Chris, if you don't mind. Just to give us Wednesday fans a little bit of feeling how it was for you that time, because obviously we're going through that at the minute, and it's something that both sets of fans are sharing, history that share at the minute.
It's history that obviously still remains very sour, and we've moved forward. And obviously Sheffield Wednesday played us that game of the season when we were in administration and we were fighting for our lives. And fortunately, we got the right side of the result. So the history goes really back to 2019 and the Frank Lampard year, where we got rid of Rowett, Mel Morris at the time, and I'll say his name only once because I'm now going to be tarnished for the rest of my life by Derby fans. Listen to this.
I don't say our previous owner's name. I refuse to say it as well on our podcast. So yeah, you're in good company there, mate.
I can feel my wrist burning now by people just basically scratching at me.
Yeah.
So Rowett went out. It was told he had no war chest. Lampard came in. He was given 50 million quid allegedly from nowhere to get Derby into the promised land, and obviously he brought in all those loans: Mount, Wilson, Tamori, etc. Blah blah blah. Waggy on a £6 million deal. Got to the playoffs. Chose completely the wrong team. We got beat by Villa. Villa went to the promised land. Lampard left Chelsea, and we were left with a massive £50 million alleged hole. I was actually working for the club at the time when it happened, and I was out at a football presentation in North Derbyshire, actually. It was a place called Duffield. And I got a phone call basically saying, grab Rami, the mascot, shove him in the van and get back to the club because there's an announcement just about to be made. And lo and behold, the announcement was made that we got into administration. Was it a surprise? There was rumours going around that something wasn't right. As you know, Mel Morris was all over a documentary about a fake sheikh trying to buy a football club and all kinds of secret cameras in suitcases. Yeah. He was trying to do a dodgy deal to get out of the situation. I can't say too much of what the allegations were because obviously I don't want to get into trouble. But I just remember that it hit the city really, really hard. Both Sheffield Wednesday and Derby County are clubs with a history of, we are founder members. We are cities which rely heavily on our football. So it hit us hard, and it hit us the same way as it's in you. There was 9 points, then there was 3 points, and there was another 3 points, and we end up with 20. We end up with a 21-point deduction in the end, and we still nearly survived. We got to the penultimate game against QPR away when we lost, and that was it. And we were under Wayne Rooney at the time, and obviously there's that famous interview when he stood outside of Moor Farm training ground in front of the coach with all the players coming off saying, we'll be back and I'm here to stay. And fair play to Wayne. He's had a disaster of a management career since, but he was forking out a lot of money out of his own wallet, should we say, to keep the club going. He was buying training equipment. He was paying for facility bills. Of course, people say he was part of the problem because he was on a large chunk of money per week as a manager, but he did give a lot of that back. And then David Clough stepped in. We were really at the wall. We were at the depths of, we honestly thought that the club was going down into the mires of non-existence. And then obviously we had...
On that, sorry, Chris, just on that, the obviously going into administration, what sort of, because we're in that now, obviously, what was the sort of time scale from administration being announced and you getting your points to actually the current owner taking control?
Oh, that's a really good question.
I'm only asking because obviously we're in that situation now, and every day Wednesday fans are asking and they want to know. Of course, they want to know. They want to know how long this is going to take. And we believe from the administrators last week they were going to try and find a preferred bidder by the 5th of December. That's been extended. We thought it was going to be a week, and that's passed as well, obviously, coming into today. It seems at the minute that things aren't moving, but I don't know if your situation at Derby was the same sort of thing, how the administrators handled that. Yeah,
well, we went into administration, I want to say September time, and then I remember we had the mass walkings 10, 12, 15,000 people walking to Pryor Park from Derby for the Birmingham City game, and that was a January. I remember it because I was part of the club at the time, and we met them outside the stadium, and we walked with them to make sure they were safe. We had obviously then the relegation season, of which took us into May, June time, and then all of a sudden David Clowes' name just came out of nowhere, and lo and behold, come August, we were in League One, out of administration, but obviously with limitations of what we could do. And then we stayed in League One for 1 year, which probably was for 2 years. We were in League One. We came seventh, didn't we, the first year? And that started under administration, if I to think about it. And then obviously Paul Warren came in through David Clowes. We had Liam Rosenior, who actually took us into that division. And you know what? I think that was the biggest mistake Derby County ever made, that we didn't give Liam Rosenior the full-time role. What they didn't see in Liam Rosenior, and Hull City for that matter, going forward, is beyond me, because the guy is an absolute wonderful man, a great coach, and he will do big things. But yeah, we stayed in League One. We came seventh. And then I think Wednesday stopped us from getting into the playoffs, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, it was the last game of the season.
There you go. The history between us is ironic.
Yeah, because obviously the couple of seasons before was like you said, we got relegated ourselves after a points deduction and losing to yourselves. I think Shea Dunkley gave a penalty away. 3-2, yeah. I know. I'm getting shivers just mentioning that. I shouldn't do that.
but it's bizarre, isn't it? It's bizarre how the two clubs have ended up where they are on opposite ends of the spectrum again now. So we came seventh that season, and it was to be fair, it was good, because it then allowed us, then the transfer embargo finished. We could then, bring in players with a little bit more quality, a bit more of a salary. January was even better, and then lo and behold, we're back in the promised land of the Championship. I would say realistically, depending on how good our administrators were awful. They were bloody awful, and they were how on earth they got paid. There was Quantuma they were. And I don't know it, but
£3 million quid was it, something like that?
Yeah, allegedly their bill was 3.2 million, and they settled away from it, which is half that. I don't know. That's the allegations, and allegedly, the fact of the matter is they made an absolute pig's ear of it, and they openly admitted that. We had Mike Ashley knocking down the door allegedly for weeks and months, as he's knocking down your door.
Yeah,
with what they saw as derogatory valuations by him. But at the end of the day, the guy's got a history of knowing how to turn around a football club. And look what he's done with Coventry. Coventry in a better place now, when he owned their stadium for a while. Newcastle, although they're in the Champions League, they are in financial disarray allegedly. I always say to people, be careful what you wish for, because at the end of the day, what on paper looks promising and there's lots of millions behind him doesn't mean to say that they're going to be spent wisely.
Oh, we know that all too well. When He Who Shall Not Be Named first came in, there's a video on social media going around when he first, I think we were at York and a pre-season friendly, and obviously everyone's chanting his names because you've got this multi-millionaire coming in who's going to splash the cash. And that lasted for about 18 months until we failed against Hull in the playoffs, and then the mismanagement of the club has gone on for the next 8 years, and with the situation we're in now. So it's I think the reason I just asked about the administration, obviously we've luckily it seems we have got really good administrators. One of them is a Wednesday fan, a season ticket holder, which I mean I don't know. It seems to be a good idea, but I'm sure there's other people thinking, how can he do that with conflict of interest and all that? But he wants to do the best for the club, and the way that the club seems to be run since administration is night and day compared to when we had an owner, because the communication, the staff, some of the things the club are coming out with for fans are fantastic. What they've done to try and get people through the door and get crowds back at Hillsborough, because they need all the money they can get. So hopefully, it was just a bit of an overview, obviously, of how long these things could take. And like you say, it was over probably just about a year or so from yourselves going into administration. I don't think Sheffield Wednesday can last a year in administration, to be perfectly honest. So hopefully things will move, and by January, I'm hoping that we will get some new owners, whoever they may be. If it's Mike Ashley, so be it. That a lot of people on social media have got very polarizing views on Mike Ashley. It's quite a probably could split the fan base for or against, but yeah, it's until somebody's either stood in front of Hillsborough with a shirt hanging, holding a shirt up saying new owner, then it could be anyone at this minute. But cheers, Chris, for that, for a little bit of insight into administration. It's a thing. We'll get back to Monday night. It's a tough one. I know yourselves, you haven't won in 3 games. A massive downturn in your form. 3 games, I'll take that. A 1-1 draw last time out against Millwall. Same with Sheffield Wednesday. We got a 1-1 draw, unfortunately, against Watford, because last kicker game in the 97th minute is a bit of a kicker. How do you see this game going on Monday night, Chris?
Honestly, I think for both sets of fans, it could either be an absolute humdinger 4-4, or it could be the worst game of the season, because both teams, let's be honest, are not performing. We had a unique situation on Wednesday night where both goals were own goals. So Matt Clark scored one end and Jake Cooper scored the other end, with both glancing headers. Well, actually, the second goal was bizarre. How on earth it's an own goal? Because I've never seen the ball head into the back of the net so strong from a defender defending his goal. But hey ho. Look, I think Derby's problem. Well, you could spin it around into a positivity. You could say that Derby have won 6 out of the last 10. So it's how you look at it. But reality is, at the moment, the stats, and I'm not a stat man, but someone sent me the stats of the season so far, and it's not looking good for Derby. I think we're in the bottom 2 for things like forward passes, dribbles, attacking, XG, whatever that means. And this comes down to the classic case of having a squad of players that on paper looks fantastic and competitive, but the reality is it's a hospital ward list. You've got Corey Blackett-Taylor, who we signed from Charlton, who, you know, we've had him now nearly 2 years at the club, and he's still barely made 10, 12 appearances. He's got hamstrings made out of laggy bands. And then you're relying on Lars Jorgen Salverson, who coming in for Carlton Morris. Lars Jorgen Salverson has been with the club came in the January window last year, and I think he's played 11 times and scored 2 goals. He's been injured. Ryan Brewster, how long is his hamstrings going to last? Andreas Weimann, he's 35. You know, there's all these kinds of issues that we've got up front scoring goals. Our biggest problem, and I say this as a fan of the guy, and not a lot of guys like him, but I remember when he was at Derby, when we loaned him from Villa, is Barry Bannon. We need a Barry Bannon. We have Bobby Clark in the midfield, who is really now starting to show how good a player he is. And there's rumours that he's going up to the Celtic, but I don't believe that will happen. I honestly think that if Derby are going to sign anyone January the 1st, that it needs to be Bobby Clark. And that also allows a loan space available to bring someone in. Bobby Clark needs someone next to him. We signed Lewis Travis from Blackburn, but he had been ostracised by Blackburn and was asked to train with the under-16s, and he came into the Derby County team with no real pre-season. And guess what? After 3 or 4 games, his body broke down. Oh, look, he's injured. And that is Derby's problem. We took gambles on players on paper that could be a fantastic championship purchase. But the reality is we're 16th because now we're back into the bare bones. And you will see a team on Monday night that will be completely different to the team that if you would have played us 5 weeks ago, we would have tore one off you. We were playing, we had a full team, we were playing with flair. We've now gone back to the depths of, Paul Wall described it as a League One team with sugar on top, and basically that's where we're at.
I think if anyone clipped that couple of minutes of you talking there, Chris, and just changed Derby to Sheffield Wednesday, you would not have known because we are in the same sort of situation. We've got players ourselves that are made of biscuits. We got an emergency loan of Nathan Redmond. Now on
I
paper,
saw that. Yeah,
Nathan Redmond.
Is he 53 now?
I think he's still only 31. I think he is, but
Wow.
He's supposedly signed on a short-term contract for till the end of January, I believe. He's out injured. So we've got Nathaniel Chalabar that scored a great goal against Leicester in the first game of the season, and he's only just coming on his way back. We've got a centre half, Deshaun Bernard. I can keep going and going about the players that aren't going to be playing, Chris, and you you won't be surprised because we're the same. We've got a proper A&E injury list. So it's going to be interesting Monday night. I mean, like I said, we've not won at home yet this season. We're desperate for a home win for the Wednesday fans. It's we know it's a long old season. We know it's going to be a tough ask, but we just want a bit of what we saw on Tuesday night against Watford would be great to see on Monday night against Derby. Unfortunately, yeah, we know we concentration got to go up to the 97th plus minute, and we just failed on that for a draw 1-1. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I don't know about a 4-4 draw. I'd love to see 4 goals at Hillsborough, but it's a tough ask for Sheffield Wednesday. I predicted a 1-1 draw. What about yourself? Are you going for an away win? Are you confident, even though you've just mentioned obviously the injury list you've got and the way you've been playing in the last couple of weeks?
Well, we're reliant very much at the moment on we have a Beckham-esque cross of the ball in Joe Ward, who's by no means David Beckham, but he has a wand of a delivery, and we've been relying heavily on our centre half scoring goals. Matt Clark, Sondre Langas, who's an absolute beast of a player, and when you see him, you know this guy, Sondre Langas, will go a long way, and he'll be with the Norway squad at the World Cup, and I don't see Derby keeping hold of him much longer. I think I'll take a draw as well, to be fair. I just don't want to be a banana skin. I don't want to be that team that gives Sheffield Wednesday the lift that they, and you do need a lift. I know that, and I really don't want to, grind you into even more woes. But I also don't want to be the football club that gives you that 3 points to kickstart your attempt to stay in the promised land. I'm going to go for a 1-1. I think we'll get a centre half scoring a goal again. That seems to be the case at the moment. And I'm going to go for Sondre Langas to score that goal from a Joe Ward corner, because we seem to we're very strong on set plays. But what I will say is,
don't say that. Don't say that.
We
are probably the worst in the league for set. Oh no!
Okay. Well, I'm going to change my prediction.
4-0 all corners.
I'm going to go for 3-0. No, I'm going to think 1-1. One thing at Derby at the moment, we've all of a sudden become very fragile at the back, and I don't know whether it's just communication's broken down, but I'll go for 1-1. If you can't defend corners, you will lose the game. That's what I will say. So I think if your manager has done his research, realizes that Derby's strength is set deliveries, then as long as you can defend that and accommodate and prevent Derby filling the box with our big 6-foot plus centre halves, you might be okay.
Wow, right. I'm going to look for every corner, every free kick then, because looks like that's the Derby plan. Chris, it's a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us on a Saturday morning. Like I say, it's good to always talk and get the views of other fans. Just if you want to give everyone else just a heads up of your podcast, if you don't mind, where they can find you.
Yeah. I'm part of a really good podcast called the Rams Review Podcast, and there's some great podcasts out there for Derby County fans and Sheffield Wednesday fans to listen to. But I think we have a little bit of a twist on things. Although we're not as technically brilliant as your Help from the Other Wednesday Week podcast, which I really think is a great podcast, and I highly recommend it. Some of the stuff that you guys and girls do is really good. But we have a nice blend of people on the panel, from stats to we've got a young journalist who's up and coming at Derby, and we've got just a real nice age mix. There's me, although I look 24, I'm in my 50s, so I can go back to the 70s. And then we've got Nigel, who's also a similar age, and Jason. And then we've got Corey, of course, who's based in Washington, D.C., and has a bizarre job with the government, which I don't know what he does, but he's all over the place with Mr. Trump, obviously. But yeah, Rams Review podcast is on. We're on X, Twitter, whatever it's called, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So yeah, please follow us.
Fantastic, Chris. It's a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us. Look forward to Monday night under the lights at 6. Right, I'll see you next week. Cheers, everyone. Thank you.
Every week, live from 8 p.m. It's the Wednesday week. Bringing you football analysis.
They said we'll win the league next season.
Bringing you modern references.
I did a little 1920s fist pump there. Not done that in a while.
If we could do just a 1-to-1, not me because it'd last 7 days apparently, like Craig David.
I should not have said that. I should not have said that.
This shows like you're mental. No, I'm not.
Clip that.
Bringing you terrible impressions.
Wibble, wobble, wobbly, wobbly, wibble, wobble, Cyber Jordan. When, hey, you got to play a 4-4-2. She. I don't know where these jokes are coming from.
Available on all social medias.
Obviously, this goes out on YouTube and as well as all the other social media out there, podcasts, etc.
The award-winning Wednesday week. Join us.
Put on your pod